Well, I am now with my turn to come in now. Reparation is a realistic thing. We not rejoice to conquer and conquering now. Balance and respect you hear from whence I come in now. Here I see the sea is the Almighty King. First what we do, we want a house cleaning. All from the ancient future man country with trouble. Reptilian lion is a pattern and ricochet no bling. Love for you want another real something. How you so careless in a handling these things. The Greco-Roman Judeo-Christian tradition is about these things. As a real life, by your true spirit, with the true king spirit, true king spirit.
Peace and Black Power. Welcome to another edition of BABATV. Fire every time. Out here with my big brother, Red Pill, who just sent the Spaniards up the street walking. It got more than what they bargained for, but that's what happens when you come through here. Red Pill, talk about the brother and these beasts shot 22 times. The same old story, it seems like. And on the West Coast, I think it was West Coast. Brother Stephan Clark.
He got shot 8 times. He was shot at 20 times. He got hit 8 or 7, 6 in the back, 1 in the neck, and the other in the side. Right? So he got killed without even knowing that he was getting killed. Because once you get shot in your back, you don't even see it coming. Right? So they said that he might have bled out and whatnot. But not only do I want to talk about young Stephan Clark and love and light to his soul and love and light to his family, his younger brother, his grandmother, and the rest of his 2 children and his wife, right? I also want to focus on the brother that got killed in Houston with his pants around his ankles. You feel me? They just shot him down. Instead of shooting him, or instead of tasering him, or just instead of talking to him, he got killed, right? They just killed that brother. And there's another one, there was another one that I'm not remembering, but when I do remember it, I'll bring it up. So since last week, or since Stephan Clark's shooting or his murder, there's already been about 4 or 5 unarmed black men being shot down in these streets of America. Cut. So Stephon is from Sacktown. Salute to Sacktown. Salute to Oakland. Salute to all of the family on the west side. You know what I mean? And we saw the footage, right? With the helicopter. Okay? So the same footage that we saw with Terrence Clutch and coincidentally Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma being one of the same places that what? Black Wall Street. All of these, I could point out all of these ancestral ties to each one of the lynchings that you and I have all know about. Because I'm not going to talk about Mike Brown and you don't know about him. I could bring up another name of somebody else that's unnamed, one of the hundreds of people, because keep in mind, there are hundreds of people that have been killed by the police this year. It's been selected for your viewing purposes to know about certain people. The Stephan Clark, this case is organic. This thing came out. This is on this. The people made this case. The people made his name known. There are some people who are dying unnamed, unsung. You don't even know their name because they don't got a team with them. They're not on social. You know what I mean? People are not saying their names, but I think we're in the hundreds, not the single 100s. It might be in the 300s when it comes to people who have been killed by the police this year. But of course, Donald Trump is dominating the news, so you're not going to hear about the multiple police shootings. But what you should have been aware of, and if you were, what's up, Keisha? If you saw the Fear of a Black and More Messiah, than you would have saw when I showed the report of when Jeff Sessions, the minute he came in, he didn't waste any time. One of the first things that he did is he rescinded all of the quote-unquote police investigations and civil rights violations inside of all police departments, and then publicly stated in front of the media, we will not be prosecuting any cop killings or any civil rights violations. This is what Jeff Sessions says. You could go and research it for yourself. So they already put the world on notice. Look, this is going to be an administration of no policies, no convictions, no kind of legal, because he's the attorney general. So he's like, look, there will be no legal action against any policeman while this man Donald Trump is in the Oval Office. Facts. And when Mike Pence is in the Oval Office, facts. So y'all be trying to run homie out of the Oval. When Mike Pence comes in there, he's gonna turn up even more. So it was already stated. Are you listening? Are you listening? That's the only question, because they're telling you what they're gonna do, and they're doing it. And reactionary politics, or reactionaries would be the ones who begin to make what? All of the noise. You start kicking over empty garbage cans. You feel me? But they're like, look, when we light that flame for that war, these are the rules that we playing by. Facts. That's what they're saying to you. Because you got to be able to interpret all of you. Don't talk legal to me. Interpret what's being said to you. For everybody that knows that smoke talk, you know what I'm saying? You done listen to the best of gangster rap over the last 100. You know when the smoke is coming. So this is what they're saying. Look, we're going to murk niggas, and then we're going to walk. By walking, right, in gangster terms, by walking, we done showed you what? Not only is there an open war on you, but there's a reward system attached to the war that if we do what? If we catch our kills, if we put in work, because remember, you got to put your life on the line to put in the work, because you just might slip up and catch a prosecutor, or you just might slip up and somebody might catch you on film. You don't know, you just might catch a guilty verdict. So some of them got to jump out there. And if you do that, there's a reward system. You'll be acquitted. You're going to get your money back, your payback, because you saw that go down, right? That's been happening. I saw about 4 stories since the beginning of the year where the officers, there's a lot of things at play. We're going to point it out. Where the officers who killed the people, once they get acquitted, back pay. But before the back pay, GoFundMe. Yeah. Then, what I've also noticed is that they're paying out the families of the people who they're killing. So there's a bag attached to the bodies.
Once you take that bag, you can't talk.
Once you take that bag, you sign an NDA. Once you take, that's a non-disclosure agreement. Once you take that bag, you agree, because there's a stack of paperwork that you have to sign where there's certain things that you can't talk about forever. And then they burn the evidence forever, right? And then you can't bring anybody up on charges if they get on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? When it becomes okay to talk greasy, you can't do double jeopardy, because by signing the paperwork, you can't seek any kind of other criminal charges and things like that. Case closed. So there's a budget, unbeknownst to you, right? There's a budget already set aside for the payouts. So the police people are getting a reward. There's a reward system. The reward system is if you carry out an operation in the name of these, as a race soldier, if you carry out an operation, we'll take care of you. Your name will be in lights. You'll become a race soldier legend, right? You become one of these martyrs. They're gonna put you on flags in the future and wave you and whatnot. You'll be in the, they'll retire your jersey. You feel me? And you're gonna be compensated. Not only are you gonna be compensated, but your family will be compensated for a very long time. If I'm a race soldier, you think I'm gonna live in shame because black people hate me? That's the idea. I'm a race soldier. I bought into what Cambridge Analytica, Steve Bannon, and Facebook and all of the people. Remember when they took all of the Facebook data, they were selling people propaganda. They were pushing propaganda all around. And what was the propaganda attached to? White power or white supremacy. Nobody wants to talk about that part. They saying, oh, they wanted to get Trump elected. No, they got Trump elected by spreading propaganda in the form of white supremacy by way of Cambridge Analytica, Facebook, Black Cube, right? Because there's more people now. Carl Rove has an agency. Now all of this data analysis, the quote-unquote war on data, or the way that they're going to war with data, that's called propaganda. War is what? Deception. I got Shabazz here. Shabazz is a veteran. He knows how wars are fought. 90% of war is deception. So if they're propagandizing you, or if they're propagandizing America, because what did they do? In the quote-unquote Cambridge Analytica situation, in the quote-unquote situation with all of this data processing, the things that are coming unraveling is they radicalize white America, or what they call red America. How did they radicalize them? They radicalized them because they sold them on the idea of a purge. You could dress it up and call it the Armageddon. You could dress it up and say World War III. They sold them on a purge, and they sold them on white people rising up, and they sold them on the reverse of what Barack Hussein Obama represented, and what ISIS represented, and what Islam represented, and what you niggas represent with your hip hop culture. Because remember, there's a culture war. When I gave people the rundown on Steve Bannon years ago, he launched what was known as a culture war. What's the most dominant culture in America?
Black.
What's the most dominant culture in America?
Yeah. My fault. Hip hop.
It's hip hop. So if there's a culture war, they're going to war with your culture. Huh? Somebody just caught you. They're going to war against your culture. You feel me? So we have to keep that in mind, that a lot of things are going on, and if it quack like a duck, and if it walks like a duck, then it's a duck. And it's really looking like, you know, there's a psyop. I'm not going to even use the word war. There's a psyops, a psychological operation, which is a part of warfare. Like I said, war is 90% deception. So they body you, and then they get in front of the camera and be like, we didn't body him. So this is how propaganda works. This is how a psyop works. They bomb, they sending people bombs to their house, right? You get a package from FedNext. It ain't even FedEx. Like, they just sending you packages from another thing.
If a man beats you psychologically, he can basically beat you physically.
All right. It all starts in the mind. It's all is mental. As above, so below. All is mental. That's why the war is 90% deception. Because if they could beat you in the mind first, then they could easily physically beat you. If you scared to even pop, if you scared to stand up, if you scared to even talk greasy to them, then they got you. You gonna shoot yourself. So what do we have? We got a bunch of people continuously coming up with excuses and saying, nah, they didn't really set it off on us. Nah. You know when somebody back in days in the school, when somebody would get snuffed, and they be like, damn, you not gonna hit the nigga back? He's like, nah, that nigga didn't hit me. He didn't hit me. Because the person who hit you was like, I didn't hit you. And you be like, nah, maybe he didn't hit me. That's fear. So you're seeing all kind of psyops. So they sent the bombs to the brother's house, to the people in Austin, Texas house, right? During South by Southwest, when there was an annual gathering of hundreds of thousands of people, they didn't say the word terrorism once. They didn't say the homeland terrorism. They didn't say terrorism. They didn't say anything. They said there's somebody sending bombs to other people's houses. We don't know what it is. We don't think it's race related, but it just so happens that all these niggas is black. It's just a coincidence. And then when they allegedly, because you don't even know if he blew himself up, they said that he blew himself up, and then I look at the vehicle and nothing is blown up but the windows is out. I don't see no body. I don't see no body parts. I don't see no blood show. Exactly. So that's called psyops. And then after they give you a culprit, they did what? They gave you a song and dance about this guy being troubled. He was upset with life. Well, no shit, Sherlock. But they never said the word terrorist. Then they finally called him a terrorist this week. They didn't even call him a terrorist. They said, yeah, he's a homeland terrorist. But that's after the police chief got pressed. So that's called Psyops. You know what I mean? That you niggas don't even know that there's a war on you as we speak. That's called a Psyop. So if they could beat you in the mental, then they could physically beat you. That's what we're seeing taking place. That's what the cop killings are. That's what all of these things, that's what all of the, remember, because the report came out that watching people die on TV, you saw Stephan Clark get shot like Call of Duty. Right? They gave you the helicopter angle. The same way that you saw Terrence Clutch get killed like Call of Duty from the helicopter. The case was the same. The helicopter guy dispatched to the people on the ground and told them, yo, body that nigga. Like in Tulsa, in the Tulsa thing, the dude in the helicopter was the husband of the woman that shot Terrence Clutcher. He told her, babe, go and handle that. Go and handle that. So that's what you're seeing taking place. The same thing that you saw in the Parkland shooting, which I don't call it the Parkland shooting, I call it the Ash Wednesday shooting. Okay? He killed those people on Ash Wednesday and Valentine's Day. It just so happened to be the school was Parkland. Nobody wants to talk about that. Now we're up to Easter's tomorrow, right? So ever since the Ash Wednesday shooting in Parkland High School where they killed all of those children, have you not seen an uptick in violence or sacrifices or rituals? Because now the police killings are back. Like I said, they've been happening, but nobody was talking about it. But now, after the Parkland shooting, they now reintroduce you to the psychological operation of what? Trauma. Look at my dude. Of trauma, right? Look at my dude. The psychological operation of trauma. He just steamed out the store, right? That's Easter. You know what I'm saying? He got to go. He's taking his Easter eggs. But they're introducing you to the psychological or the psyops of trauma, because trauma triggers what? PTSD, right? Post-traumatic slave disorder. So, or post-traumatic stress disorder. So what does PTSD trigger? PTSD triggers pill popping. Take your pills. PTSD triggers what? Crack smoking, heroin shooting, opioid usage. People surfing the dark web, or people falling into their lower self, or people in fearful states, mental and all of these other things. It triggers all kind of disease or dis-ease. It triggers depression. It triggers anxiety. It triggers stress, stress-related diseases, stress-related heart attacks. All of the things that do what? Weaken the standing army, because if they could defeat you mentally, then what? They could defeat you physically. Your own body will defeat you. You should have shut off. So, and then when they keep inducing all of this fear, so there's been a fear campaign that has been ramped up ever since the Ash Wednesday, not Parkland shooting, Ash Wednesday Valentine massacre, because he killed them on Valentine's Day on Ash Wednesday. When you look at the pictures of the Parkland shooting, they got people with the ash cross on their forehead. They're not even, and then the shooter, Nicolas Cruz, they did what? They did the same thing to his personal, because all you have in this world is what? Your reputation. That's the law of power. You niggas don't even follow the law of power. So they didn't besmirch his personality. They said that go and Google this. He's received more mail. He's receiving lingerie and money donations while he's locked up by more people than they've ever saw a serial shooter or a mass shooter ever get. This is the same kid, because the media painted him like he was a troubled kid. How was he a troubled kid when the FBI already knew that he was making terrorist threats on Facebook? How was he a troubled kid, or he was just stressed out if the police was at his house 20 times? He was a foster kid and they was at his house 20 times, and he got expelled from school for having a knife. So he was a terrorist. He ain't no goddamn trouble kid. But what do? They paint your picture. There's a reward system. So white dominant society or the media is holding him up like a martyr or a victim of what? Depression. But they're not calling him an animal like they try to call Stephan Clark. The man got murdered in his grandma's backyard, and they're making him the villain. They got people bringing up his old tweets where he was talking down against melanin sisters. Now listen, a lot of our people don't love themselves because they haven't been taught to. A lot of our people are in a place where sometimes your ass was asleep before you woke up. What happened if they pull up your old tweets? What they gonna see? You know what I'm saying? I done downloaded my Facebook. They got all of my, you know how they got the privacy thing? So they give you the option to download your dossier. I downloaded it. It almost crashed my computer. It was more than a terabyte because I've been on the book for more than 10 years. But I was able to see my growth and development. Look, people got to be able to grow. I still love my brother, and I understand even though if he was misguided, he don't deserve to get shot 8 times in his back in grandma's backyard, not mama backyard. Huh? Grandma's backyard. Man, you know what I mean? So it's Easter Sunday tomorrow. People they're gonna celebrate the resurrection. And the question is that Christ energy gonna resurrect in you? Because you're gonna need it for the next 4 years that's coming up. Because like I said, if you don't read the writing on the wall, it's playing for Ray Charles could see this play. And like I said, I'm not a reactionary. I've been sharing this message with the family for a very long time. You feel what I'm saying? And this kind of situation does not require our reactionary, the reactionary aspect, fake Negro outrage, or we just being mad because they all of a sudden pushed our button again. No, we have to be organized, okay? We have to do things that are not necessarily in front of these cameras where we come together and we consolidate power and we make power moves, not talk truth to power, because anybody could do that in the internet age. We don't put into regard the era or the age that we live in. You understand? This is not Malcolm's time. This is not Garvey's time. This is the internet era where anybody could get into front of the camera and talk truth to power. When are we going to consolidate power and make power moves? They're making power moves. The kind of power moves that you got to do to put at least 1 point on the board. You understand? It should be, you read the body language. Body language is 80% of communication. You understand? I don't got to say everything, but consolidation of power, organizations of organizations, meaning that the organizations, what's stopping the organizations from becoming organized with other organizations? These are 501c3s. What's happening? Remember the X-Men from the nation? What about the private security forces that can come out of these organizations who have what? Disciplined men and women who are trained to defend not only themselves, but the women, the children, and all of the people in their neighborhood. All, if you call yourself and I'm not just talking about the FOI or the Nation of Islam. If you say that you belong to an organization and you represent any of the teachings of Garvey, Elijah, Drew Ali, or any of the master teachers, then you should have an aspect of your organization that deals with self-defense. So now the days are coming upon us where a lot of people got to show and prove all of those wolf tickets and the ideas and the concepts that they've been selling our people for all of these years. Because it is time for the militants to step forward. A day of reckoning. Or, yes, go in. That's right. So that day, or that gathering rather, has to come about. The same way that my guy Farrakhan called 1 million people, we could call 1 million people collectively, easily. And what we have to do, and what's not illegal, because there's some people out there that still live in a fear-based mentality. They eating GMO chicken, because all of these animals die in fear. You are what you eat, literally. So you're walking around in fear because that cow that you ate last night, that nigga was scared to death when he was watching all of the other cows get sliced in half. So those enzymes and those hormones and all of that, all of those secretions got into his endocrine system and whatnot, and you ate that. So you pick up on all of that memory. So people are living in a perpetual state of fear. I remember when I was my son's age, the men that were around me and even the women were not in such a fearful state. So they say chicken little because you are what you eat. So I've got to use that disclaimer because what I'm saying is it is legal to create what is known as a security private organization. Meaning that you have to police your own neighborhoods. Not only do you have to police your own neighborhoods, you're going to have to begin to police the police. Okay? There are security firms like Blackwater. They have them on their side. Like Titan. We used to have security firms like the X-Men. They were in neighborhoods. When they were in those neighborhoods, crime mysteriously began to go down. Because we got to protect ourselves too. Because it's not just them creating a psyops on us. The mumble rappers have a psyops on us. The motherfucking trap rappers, the gangster rappers, the we don't love these hoes, and you know all of them have a psyops on our babies and our people as well. So we still got to protect ourselves from our own because this is the Walking Dead, and you know what the hell's going on. So you still got to show a force in your community because if your people are living under fear, and the babies are not able to see any kind of example of black men that are in power or in any kind of militarized state where they're allowed to protect their own communities or their own people, then you already, like I said, psyops, meaning that they will defeat you mentally before they defeat your ass physically. So if you see a man with a rifle and you feel like you need to apologize for him, white people, I promise you, he's okay with it. He's all right. I swear, he's okay. He's not going to do anything. And you know what I mean? Like, that's how our people are at. That's the stage where they're at now. So they got to break out of that if they ever think that they're going to be able to stand up and be what is known as not just sovereign on paper. You got to be sovereign. You have to have testicular fortitude, a.k.a. grab your own nuts, nigga. You got to stand on something. That's right. So everybody don't have to be warriors, but you got to be able to stand for something. You have to be able to not live in a perpetual state of fear where you don't, and I'm not talking about being all angry. Like I said, fake nigga outrage has gotten us nowhere. Fake nigga outrage is not a solution to anything. It does nothing but do what? Make you sicker. People are already not healthy. It just excels whatever dis-ease, or it just depreciates your immune system and makes you susceptible for lower entities. Because remember, dis-ease starts in the mind first. So it's the shit that you're watching on your computer screen. It's the shit that you're listening to on the radio. It's the shit that you're watching late night when nobody's looking. It's all of that stuff that starts the process of what eventually later on forms into physical disease. It's watching black people die on the internet in MSNBC. Why they keep looping Black Death? I never saw a white person die on TV, let alone the motherfucking news. They don't show you that. Why they keep showing black people getting killed? What is the psychological operations behind that? What does that do to somebody's subconscious? We gotta ask those questions. You know what I'm saying? We have to ask those questions. Like I said, when my son was born, he saw somebody who was melanated in a seat of position of power, aka Barack Obama. Even if it was just a image of that. Later on, he's being inundated with snuff films. Peace. Alright? A snuff film is when you watch somebody die on film. That's not natural. That has psychological ramifications. That will have a boy put on a pair of stilettos trying to escape it all. So, you know.
All right.
Let them know.
Rest in peace, Stephan Clark. My name is 2018 Bam. I'm in the building from Rochester, New York. Happy to be here.
How old are you, King?
I'm 26.
Stephon was 22.
Yeah.
Shout out to his brother Stephante. We'll talk about that in a minute.
That's right. That's right. I like what he doing. I see it. Shout out to Stephante. And you're right about watching those videos continuously can be traumatizing, depressing. It may make you want to do things like, you know, try to cope with yourself, cope with the situation. You may want to drink, use drugs, which is not good. Certain things can make you docile watching those videos continuously.
Oh, bad. Where you at?
I'm not even sure if the video, the drone shot of the brother being killed, I'm not sure if that video is real. What do y'all think?
The body cam video is real. I saw that one. They got the body cam when they clapping them.
All right, all right.
He was so dismembered. His body, he's Muslim, according to reports that I read. Or he was under the Islamic faith. And his body was so dismembered. They wanted to put him to, they wanted to wash his body and do the traditional Muslim burial. His body was so dismembered that they could not give him the traditional Muslim washing. They had to dry wash him. You dig what I'm saying? Then his family had a outside autopsy done on him. That's when they were concluded where he was shot 6 times in his back, once in his neck, and another in his torso. The first shot, all of those shots were deemed fatal. The first shot was to the neck. So yeah, I believe that camera footage was authentic, right? And the body camera, the footage that I saw in the body camera is conducive with the footage that I saw from this helicopter.
All right, all right. One thing I respect about the Black Panthers is if something like that happened, they come out with their guns. And if they didn't have guns, they come out regardless. So that's one thing I respect the Black Panthers about. They police the police. That's what we need to be doing now. I'm sure you heard that enough times. But we got to keep saying it. We got to keep teaching. We can't stop.
That's right.
We can't be in fear.
We got to keep speaking it into existence.
That's right.
We got to keep speaking it into existence. That's what this is. Yo, niggas talk a lot. Yeah, we speak things into existence. Poof. That's how it works.
That's right.
Like magic.
I don't have much to say. I'm a little camera shy. This is my first time up here. But
Good, my brother.
I just love this. You don't get this everywhere.
That's right. Tell them how it's been out here since you've been out here. All of the things that you witnessed.
It's been great.
People who never get to come out here to visit and see what this is live.
Yeah, well, you get to see a lot of black folks. As soon as you get off the train, it's like you know you in the Mecca. You know you in the Renaissance. So it's just amazing. Both sides of the street, 4 corners.
Yep.
So I'm loving it.
Even with the gentrification at an all-time high, even with the fact that they might have chased away 50% of Harlem, it's still a sea of melanin. Still a sea of melanin.
Yes, sir. I saw Chinatown. I saw Little Italy. Now we just got to build up our own. We got our own problems. I even saw Jews with their own signs. Popeyes with Chinese writing.
That's right.
So we have to do our own thing.
They were allowed to do it.
Yes, sir.
So if you want to remember the magic and what it is that you see, on 125th Street, I'm going to do the next time we do a video, I'm going to have my back face so you can see all of this traffic. The key to this shit is the currency. Harlem sits on what is known as 2 rivers. There's a river on the east side. The Hudson River is on the west side. So Harlem lays right here, 25th, 125 specifically. This corridor was deemed as one of the most, this has the highest GPA per capita of any corridor in New York, meaning the most money or the most currency is flowing through this river to river extension right here. This is called currency. Currency is movement. Currency, current. Energy and motion. So all of this energy and motion is the river that if you were to recreate this is what you would have to recreate more specifically is what is known as foot traffic. I've been a lot of places you niggas don't have that. There's no foot traffic. And when there's a foot traffic situation, it's not surrounded by commerce in a way that this is. This is not necessarily living spaces. This is all commerce. It's all buying. Unfortunately, it's not mom and pops anymore. These are a lot of corporate stores, but what offsets it is the open air market. The aspect of the currency that we tap into is the tables in the open air market that's out here. That's African and it's a tradition. So if you want to recreate something, it will have to have this open air market aspect where the currency is being made by the people in an open air market situation, hopefully surrounded by water and a foot traffic up and down. And then you too could build up something like your own Black Harlem, because this is not going to always be here. we don't die, we multiply. So there should be at least 10 Harlems around the world, right? If this the Black Mecca, well, goddamn it, when shit get rough over here, we should be able to hop into any other of the new Harlems and tap in to the current, tap into the energy, tap into the frequency, tap into whatever these areas offer, and be able to tap into the living situation, tap into the talent, the pool of resources, and all of these things. It's not hard. I'm actually putting together a tome or a book that's going to describe all of the steps that it's going to take, but I'm calling it a startup community. You dig what I'm saying? Not a community, not a Harlem, not a neighborhood, a startup community. Different language, same concepts, but you got to keep it Wakanda. Wakanda will be a startup community. It would not be a city and whatnot. It would be a startup city. Okay, it would be a smart city / startup city, a community where people are coming together to do what. You can't get into the city if you're not talented. You can't come amongst us if your social status, if you don't have what is known as assets that you bring to the table, and that will be determined based off of many different ways of assessment. You dig what I'm saying? That's where we got to take this thing. But we're building startup cities. That's what the Facts 2020 has to offer. That will be introduced to you very soon. And the app is also coming back. And before I leave this off, for these things to happen in a faster way, you hear me, you've heard me, you see me, you know what I do. Run the credit. You dig what I'm saying? Run my credit. My Patreon is right there in the description. Make sure you sign up to it. You dig what I'm saying?
And on that note, we will be in D.C. I'm sure Red Pill, Sonetta, to support our brother. He got all kind of conventions, workshops, all kind of stuff that some of the things that Red Pill is expounding on. From the 15th, I believe it is, to the 20th, I'll throw the flyer up on the beginning of this video. Our mighty warrior, lawyer, attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz Sonetta will be down there. We come in DC. All roads this month of April lead to DC.
Yeah, and before I could forget, you should see the flyer in the beginning and the end of this video. April 22nd in Atlanta. I'm going to expound further on, because if you here in the street, this is a cipher. I'm giving you a lecture with actual slides and research that I've been researching all year. I will be in Atlanta with Professor Griff, Fear of a Black Planet 2. We did part 1 in 2009. That was one of my first lectures. Salute to Professor Griff. I only stand with the legends. You dig what I'm saying? And we will be in the West End at one of our new locations, the Wadada Health Food Spot. It's across the street from Seasoned Vegan, which is it's a Hebrew owned, not seasoned, damn, I'm forgetting the name, forgive me, but it's across the street. It's right there on Ralph David Abernathy, and it's across the street from Soul Vegetarian. You dig what I'm saying? That's owned by our own people. The West End is owned by our own people. Shout out to Tassili. We will be in the building. It starts at 3 p.m. Bring yourself to the A, KTL and the ATL. Run up, and we're we'll be in Lithonia with Solange, his wife Soleil. That's Solange. Soleil, Professor Griff, and Red Pill will be in Lithonia on the 21st. All right, doing what it do, dealing with the doing another lecture, dealing with all of this information, this decoding, and all of and just speaking life. Not just the problems that our people are facing, but it's important that you know what I'm saying, that you understand what you're up against, but we come to bring solutions. Solutions, all right? So with that being said, love and light, man. Stay strong. You know what I mean? If you want to shed a tear for that brother, if you don't, it's all good. You know what I mean? If you want to put one in the air for the brother, if you want to pour, I got my ginger right here, pour something out for that brother and the hundreds of other unsung heroes. Do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Live your life. You know what I mean? Shine. Do what you got to do. I'm about to put a whole altar together for a lot of these brothers and whatnot who are now martyrs. You know what I mean? Or some of these brothers who are victims that deserve martyrdom. I'm going to put them on my altar so I could begin to, you know, speak to their souls, speak to their spirits, put sacrifices on the altar for them. Let them know that they're not forgotten and that we stand with our brothers who are, you know what I mean, obviously signed the contract before they even came here to do what? They knew what they were coming here to do. They knew what their mission was. They probably decided before that they got here, but don't leave them on the wall of don't leave them in the hall of victimhood. All right? So with that being said, you have anything you want to end on?
Peace. Mama, I made it. Shout out to Mama.